Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with Various Wind here for the Southern Pines 9-hole cup here in Golf Clash. The game, a full 9 of the Southern Pines with new hole locations. The last time we had these ones were in the Legends 9-hole cup, and it's spring break. You have seen Amelia in the Rookie Division video, and now we do have Matteo in the Master Division video. The kids are home for spring break, and we're doing a little recordings all together. Make sure to check out the recording we did. That was a little goofy one from us as well. Alright, make sure to hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. And also you can scan the QR code somewhere here on the screen, and also use the link patreon.com/golfclashtommy that is in the description down below. There you can find all our guides, and we have tournament and tour guides for each and every one. So check it out and sign up today. And follow the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1.
So, stretch out to max to find the bullseye by the rough line here on hole number 1. You can play this shot with Apocalypse level 5 plus. Once we have stretched out, we are adjusting max plus 10 P5. Now we're going to pay attention to the plus yardage we are ending up in, which is in this instance going to be plus 4. We are pushing up 24 yards, which in many of the winds is going to be to complete max, but in this case it's going to be to the top of plus 28. 7 top spin and 1 right spin. Those are you using Apocalypse level 5. You always use max top spin because you don't have 7 top spin. Half a ball of a right curl and try to hit perfect. The goal here is to be around 495 to 505 yards. Those of you playing with Apocalypse level 5 won't reach that far. And what I would like to say to you guys is that you should still play exactly the same way as described here. You should just focusing more on the landing position table in the guide, whereof those of you playing with 7 bars of topspin on drive should focusing more on the top white ring fringe check that we do have in the guide. So then we do have 2 references for you all. Get the guide here on. From landing position plus yardage, we're gonna have our base at plus 6, and we're gonna use that as 88% slider plus 15% elevation P5. But first, add 2 right spin, no backspin or topspin. Second bounce to be on the fringe with the ball guideline to the hole. It could be that you might have to go with an increment of topspin or backspin just to compensate, but always to start with the second bounce centered on the fringe with the ball guideline pointing towards the hole. Always pull over bullseye. We are adjusting here from the plus 2 yard mark. We are deducting 0.4 from our slider number that we are getting, and we're getting this one to drop for a lovely eagle here on hole number 1. If you do drive long, which is going to happen many of the times as well, then we're going to have a top white fringe check, which you can see a reference video towards as well. So please take a look at that video also. For hole number 2, thank you so much to Steve Coleman for the sent shot that I've been following with here. Just fine-tune it a little bit with wind angles and stuff like that. 3 left spin, 1.8 backspin. You can see that I'm looking for the inner ring to be just by the rough line. Second bounce in the center of the dark green square row with the ball guideline into this massive funnel. Now we do favor 12-1, well, very important. This is what we will classify as the red angle in the guide, which is going to be the more tailwind one. Adjustment is always going to be 1-to-1, so 9.5 rings for 9.5 miles per hour. And in this angle, we are adding 2 clicks of underpower. In the angle that is less tailwind, then we're gonna not do anything. And if we do have more crosswind, we're gonna have 2 clicks of overpower. Bounce into the rough, rolls up the green, takes the funnel and dead center. We would recommend to play with a wind between 8 and 10 miles per hour to switch, and the biggest reason for that is that we don't want to play with too low wind, because we want to make sure that we're always going to adjust out from the bunker. So I would definitely suggest you to go with a wind 4 ball here, such as a Kingslayer, Centurion and stuff like that, if the wind is 10 miles per hour or below. Otherwise I would switch to a wind 5 ball to have a high wind with wind 5 ball instead. Get the guide here on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. So the drive here is going to be a no movement, no adjustment. The only thing we're going to do is that we're going to set 4.5 bar topspin. We're going to then pull back depending on the wind strength that we are having. So for 14.4, we shall in this case pull back 0.8 rings. And that we do with the ball guideline pointing straight up. Obviously the pullback will be slightly different for a POC 7 and a POC 5 and 6 due to different accuracies, so have that in mind. 0.8 ball, left curl, hit perfect, and the goal here is to get somewhere around 505 to 520 yards. Have in mind that if you are unlucky and you would roll into the rough there at the top, it's a super simple save for an eagle, so there is nothing to be afraid of when it comes to this shot. We're keeping it free to play, playing with a berserker. For the second shot, we are going to use the backspin that is 4 backspin to right spin. We start with that one because the range position is not relevant here. We're looking to find the sticky spot, which is going to be fine. You can see when you're wiggling around there a little bit. Want the ball guideline to be half a green square short of pin, and the distance of the tip of the ball guideline should be just to where the cup ends. Now, from plus 14, we play max plus 45 P5 numbers. So having a plus 20, I'm adding 0.6 to my adjustment, and that is a lot of rings. So make sure that you give yourself the time. So center the ball, hit perfect, and even, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that this is going to drop every time, because it's not. This is going to be a safe eagle with an outside chance for an albatross. And if you're lucky, you get it to drop like me, dead center for an albatross on hole 3. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy.
On the drive, we start with any P4, Win 4 or P5 Win 4 ball that we do have. It needs to have side spin too, as we will be using more than one side spin on the second shot. Top of plus 9, now we're looking to have the ball guideline point towards the red bush there in the far distance. Adjustment is max plus 10 P4, then with a P4 ball you shall always apply overpower with the amount of rings you adjust into, plus 1 ring for a POC 6, 7 and 8, and then for Apocalypse level 5 we're gonna take a closer look. That's gonna be 2.5 ring more than what you adjust into. What you also need to have been said here, if you're using a P5 Win 4 ball, it is important to think about the overpower, because you won't be needed as much overpower as with a power 4 ball, but you need to always apply the amount of overpower you adjust into plus the ring I did suggest. So if you do not adjust into overpower at all, you always apply 1 ring extra for a POC 6 to 8 and 2.5 rings extra for a POC 5. So for the second shot, we're gonna start by looking at the top of the yellow ring to be by the rough line, with the ball guideline going through the hole, favoring right side of the pin. Once that has been done, we are applying 1.8 left spin. So this is going to be our offset, because we don't want to aim closer to the rough, or we don't want the first bounce to be close to the bunker. Now from plus 6. We're gonna play, or sorry, let's say like this, from plus 7 we play 1 to 1. So if the plus yard would have said plus 7, then we would have played 10.1 rings. Now with plus 6 we're playing 10 rings instead. Now overpower should be to just before the circle glitch happens, and that can be equal also 1 ring depending on how you want to look at it. Bounces nicely into the rough. rolls up, and we're getting a lovely eagle on a very tough par 4, which is hole number 4. Get the guide by scanning the QR code on the side here of the screen, or go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Hole 5 is an absolute money shot, especially now when we do have a new funnel to play into. I would say this is as much money as hole number 2. 1 right spin, 0.2 backspin, which is 4 clicks after 0. And now the tricky part here is to actually find the correct position. We're gonna find the position at the bottom of +10. So back up to the bottom of +10, and then you will find, you can see the second bounce to be just in between the bright and the dark green square row, with the ball guideline going past and back towards the hole. Then we're gonna adjust 1 to 1. And with a high wind like this, we're going to use 1 click of right curl. We're gonna use a little bit of right curl depending on what wind strength we are having. But to be completely honest, I do think that even without right curl, this shot is going to drop many of the times. But to be perfect and to get the best possible chance for a drop every time, then we're gonna have to use those minor curl tweaks to get this ball to be dead center, and we'll take this hole in 1 and jump over to hole number 6. So there we go. Get the guide by scanning the QR code or going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guides for the Southern Pines Golf Club 9-hole cup. You can find the link in the description down below to Patreon, and also we do have the QR code here on the screen. The link is patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We are providing a qualifying round guide and a final round guide for expert and master division to help you be competitive in this tournament without having to spend loads of time in practice and then loads of balls, which essentially is a cost for you as a player. But that's not it. We do have something for each and every one. Starting at $1.50 per month, you can find a package that suits you and what you want to improve with in this game. Tour play, tournament play, you name it. Check it out through the QR code here on the screen or patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You get to the page with all the packages, find something for you, and then start doing what more than 2,000 players has already done this month to improve their game in Golf Clash. On the drive, we are starting with any power 5 ball possible. You can see I have a Ryder Cup ball, but I'm starting with a power 4 ball. Now look at the ball guideline. I'm looking to be just before it shows being clipped away by the tree. So just before the ball guideline turns red. Now I'm going to adjust 1 to 1 from a base of 8.8, which is the lowest wind with a wind 4 ball. And I do that with the power 4 ball, so I'm not adjusting too far up. Once everything like that is done, I'm switching to a power 5 wind 4 ball side spin 2. You can stick with the power 4 ball if you like. The only thing to have in mind with that is that if you do go short with a power 4 ball, you might pull in between clubs on the second shot. So that's why I'm switching to a P5 wind 4 ball to ensure I do have the yards enough on the second shot all the time. Because this is not an easy drive. I tried to go down the very right side and it was very wind angle dependent, and it was too risky and too inconsistent to my taste. I don't like shots like this in general because there is always be some inconsistencies with it, but this has worked really well for me in practice and also got myself several drops. Second shot, I would prefer playing with the B52 level 7 plus due to its more power than Grizzly, but Grizzly 9 will be suggested in the text, so follow those advice if you do want to play with Grizzly 9. So I'm looking to have the ball guideline to be 3 green squares through the hole after I've applied spin. 1 right spin, 1 back spin. And now we're gonna look at wind angle. This is gonna be the angle that we're not gonna do any type of tweaks. So this is gonna be just a straight up adjustment. 97% slider, power 4 ball settings, and with 40% elevation.
Even though the ball guideline shows being clipped away by the tree, you should not be scared about that at all. And the reason for that is due to the fact that the ball will be pushed left enough before it would be clipped by the tree. Dead center for a lovely albatross here on hole number 6, and even though it looks simple enough, this is going to be a tough drop to achieve, but I'm glad that we do have a very nice and solid shot if the drive goes as we want.
For hole number 7, and we are going to, in this video, play with a kingmaker, but with precision. Or let's say, I mean, it's a power 3, win 3, so picture this as a kingmaker. So I'm using 7 topspin, and I'm using as much right spin that I can on my drive. Is setting up a max P3 line, white ring to be by the rough line. You can see here now I'm using the 7 topspin and all the right spin that we can. Adjust max plus 10 P3, and once we have adjusted, we're going to go with some curl to the right, with also a little bit of overpower to push the ball a little bit higher up. So you can see here now that after the adjustment, we are using the right curl, which is half a ball of right curl with just before, with circle drop overpower. Perfect ball it is, and now we do want to get ourselves up to a short iron without taking much risk. And we don't take literally any risk with this type of drive, getting to 394 yards. Now, second shot, now they have made this green, so there isn't something called an impossible putt here. So even if you fall down left, you can still reach the pin. However, it's going to be a putt that's going to be very, it's going to be overpowered putt, and that's not something we want to do. And my way to avoid that is to use a lot of right spin when I bounce on the fairway. So I'm using 3 right spin and then a little bit of backspin. You can see here, by using the right spin, we are allowing ourselves for not falling down to the left if it's not going to be like we're hitting a bad great left or something like that. So aiming the ball guideline short of pin here, due to the fact that we do have the tailwind, as the ball is going to push extra 15% elevation through club distance from here. And again, we center the ball, hit perfect, and we are seeing ourselves taking a nice little turn here on the green. Looks like it's going to go short, but then it curves back, dropping dead center for the eagle here on hole number 7.
So, on hole number 8, we're gonna play a very interesting shot from the left. I'm starting with any power 1 ball before spin, looking for the second bounce to be just in between the dark and the bright green square row on the top left there. And I'm not really paying attention to the range position here, as I'm using the max line of the P1 ball as my reference together with the second bounce. 5.2 backspin, so it's 4 clicks after 5 backspin. I want to favor 1201 here on the shot. Adjustment is always going to be 1 to 1 plus 0.5. So here I'm adjusting 8.6 rings. You can see that I'm switching to the rock and roll ball, and the reason I'm playing with the rock and roll ball is because I'd rather waste that one than a backspin boost shot or something like that. This angle, no need for any tweaks. Center the ball, hit perfect. You will notice here now that the second bounce is very close to the rough line. However though, this shot has been tested for a great left, and what will happen with a great left is that it will clip the rough, but it will still roll out on the green for a safe putt. So that's no issues whatsoever with that. Great right is still fine. I believe a perfect ball here with the suggested wind angles is going to be a very good chance for a drop. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Tough wind on hole number 9 here. We start with a quarterback to find complete max distance with white ring to the rough line. And we're swapping to Apoc and Cataclysm bag if having Cataclysm level 7 or better. Otherwise, you should pack Apocalypse and Horizon in the same bag. More about that later on. Adjustment is max plus 10 P5, and even if you don't adjust into OP, you shall always use 2 rings of overpower. If you do adjust into OP, then you use whatever you adjust into plus 2 rings. Try to hit perfect. The goal is to be as close to the rough line to right possible. However, though, we don't want to push it too hard and roll into the rough because we are definitely then dead. Goal is to be around 370 to 380 yards. So for the second shot, with a more conservative way of playing, we're using 5 top spin and 2 right spin. Now I'm looking at to be at the top of +5 with the second bounce to be as there close to the bunker. That's my reference point to use. Max +10 P5 is the adjustment. Then we're gonna play 1.5 ball of right curl. The good thing with this type of shot is that it's going to be very consistent in terms of the distance it gets, which obviously will help when it comes to the second shot. Great left, great right are safe. You can play with whatever cataclysm level you may want, combined with big dog, if that's going to be the club, if that's a club we want to play with instead. For the third shot, we're gonna do a pin check with our B52 here, which in this case are +9, and we're gonna use 2 backspin and 1 right spin. Ball guideline should be going to the hole, not through the hole. And when it comes to our base here, we're using +9 as a base for 54% slider, +15% elevation, P5 numbers. We are going to have a wind angle tweaks in the guide. We will also address a note for those that do play with Grizzly 9 instead. But B52 level 7 or level 8 should be the club to choose if you do have that club on leveled up in that level. Center the ball, hit perfect. We pull twice over the bullseye as well, should be added. Bounces nicely on the fairway, gets up towards the green and getting in dead center for a lovely save of an eagle here for option number 2 on hole number 9. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy.
Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division with Various Wind here for the Southern Pines 9-hole cup in Golf Clash the game. Make sure to comment in the comment section below if you do have any questions. Also hit the thumbs up before you go. Scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You can find in the description down below. Get our guides and make sure to improve your game with start today. Thank you once again for watching. Good luck in your Golf Clash game.